order. Bakchi, who was the fighter controller, told us that look out, the aircraft is about 1 o'clock, 10 nautical miles. But we couldn't hear him because basically we were belting very fast, and the RT, when the Gnat goes at 500, you just can't hear anything. So Massey stepped up a little clearer, and I saw a glint of metal very far away on the right, and Gunnar and Donnie were on the right. So I said, contact Gunnar, Donnie, you should be able to see it, you're closer. And then they said no, nothing. And then we carried on for another 5 seconds, and then Roy said, okay, I see it now, and let's pull up. And they pulled up over Gunnar and Donnie, and he just got behind one aircraft. And I'll now hand you over to Donnie, because that from onwards was Donnie, Gunnar and Massey.
Yeah! Hawkeyes!
Yeah, before I continue from where he left off, I'd like to just express my gratitude to all of y'all for having us over here this evening.
You deserve it.
And it's wonderful to see everybody over here.
We love you.
Thank you.
Chris, how are you?
And if anyone drops in at Malacca, let me know. We'll look after you over there.
Sue hasn't called us to Bombay as
Not
yet.
just an invitation, because Sue has been there, Balik has been there, many other people have come. So kindly do
Then you go and stand next to him.
try and make it to Malaysia.
That's politics.
Okay. What happened was, these sabres were in a range pattern. Now all of us have flown over range. 3 aircraft had come, actually 4 aircraft had got airborne from Dhaka that morning. Only 3 came because one had RT problem. So he landed back at Dhaka. And these aircraft were in a range pattern. They were attacking our Mukti Bahini, where our army was helping us. Army was helping them. And we got a scramble in the morning, we got a scramble in the afternoon, 11 o'clock, nothing happened. And this was the 3rd sortie of the day. And they were in a range pattern. So the aircraft that was on base leg was spotted. And the aircraft entered into a left-hand pattern going into an attack. And that's the aircraft that Massey and Soares got behind. So when the aircraft was in the finals, carrying out the attack, the other aircraft was on downwind, 2nd Sabre. That 2nd Sabre informed the 1st Sabre, who was Wing Commander Chowdhury, the commanding officer of 14th Squadron in Pakistan. So Wing Commander Chowdhury turned hard right because there were two Gnats behind him. And the second person was Flying Officer Khalil Ahmed. He got behind, he started maneuvering from the downwind, he pulled up and turned left, going behind Soares and Massey. He didn't see us. In the meantime, what happened was, since Massey had pulled up and gone over Gunnar and me, Gunnar and I turned left and Massey had told us to perch. So we were perching, we were on top, and the battle moved forward. So there was 1 Sabre, 2 Gnats behind, they were in a combat. There was a 2nd Sabre behind the 2 Gnats, and we were there, behind this Sabre. So what happened?
Yeah.
There was a Sabre was turning, and Massey was going in the Gnat. The method is to engage the enemy in the vertical plane, not in a horizontal plane. So Mouse came on top of him, took a shot. The Sabre was maneuvering this way, and Mouse and Soares were maneuvering this way. Now what happened, a good number 2, when he saw the 2nd Sabre pulling up and going behind him, he gave a call, 2nd Sabre, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock or something, and Gun said contact. So Gun got behind the second saber, and it was an immediate shot, and he said murder.
Wow.
There you go. Now what happened was, the battle moved forward, and I saw a saber turning right and going this way. And he was between gun and me. And what had happened before the flight that afternoon, while playing Scrabble, I was talking to Ganapati, and I asked him, I said, Gan, as a number 2, what are your duties? Isn't it stick, scan and report? He said, yes. I said, suppose you see an enemy aircraft, what will you do? He used some strong Air Force language and he said, I'll go after that. Now when I saw that aircraft, I was a number 2. Do I stick, scan and report?
We'll go after that.
Or do I go after that?
What is the
Quick decision.
What is the Air Force, sir?
Gun is this. Sorry, gun. There I go. I reverse with my rudder pedals. My gun sight. I till date do not remember how I put my switches on. And in the NAT, you know, if you have to switch on the switches on the right side, you can't use your right hand, you have to use your left hand. And the other way around. How did I make my guns active? I still don't remember. But they were active. By the way, we have a gyro gun sight in the NAT. Many of us told us, did you have wing and beat? I said, no. I have a gyro gun sight. And I put my gun sight on the cockpit and fired.
Did you?
Jichu.
Bollywood.
Short burst, and I saw his wing root on fire. I can still see that picture.
And that's the one.
Okay.
He's being very this, but.
No, what is the Air Force language?
Yeah, okay. The first turn after Massey got behind Wing Commander Chaudhary, we clocked 10 G.
Wow.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, we all forgot to drop our tanks. Okay, so whatever you say, I'll drop tanks and do this, we all forgot to drop our tanks. Yeah.
And I pulled 10G.
So drop tank can sustain 10G.
It did. And I was so close to the aircraft, I was about 50 meters from him. And I did a getaway. As I went on, the debris came and hit my aircraft.
Oh.
And had a fuel transfer warning light on in my cockpit.
I'll take you on.
So I said my fuel transfer warning light is on. In the meantime, Gun, who had shot the aircraft, was on top. He said he didn't know that it was his number 2. He said there's a Nat whose drop tank is streaming. Fuel was streaming from my tank. So I said, yeah, that's me. So Gun said, drop your tanks. I dropped my tanks, and believe you me, the change of center of gravity was so much that I kept hitting the canopy. I'm a tall man, so I was very close to the canopy. My helmet was there.
If you notice, we are both 5'10" and above. I don't know how they allowed us to fly the net.
Today they won't allow it. Thanks to the doctors. Then I dropped my tanks and I kept hitting, and the aircraft became very unstable. And in the NAT, there is one procedure which is mandatory to be followed, is split tail. So I split my tail and the aircraft settled down. And then Gun told me, don't look left. I'm left 9 o'clock. So I made contact, and we then spread line abreast and headed back home. ISU had so far remained silent. They had given us the last pigeons. I still remember 285 and 50-60 kilometers or something.
Wow.
So we turned 285, we were coming low level. In the meantime, Massey had this combat, and you can tell them what you saw.
Nothing. Basically, after the first initial 10G turn, it took us about another 20 seconds before Massey fired his rounds, and the right wing started to explode, and I saw my first ejection in my life, but it was another aircraft. So that was good.
So Gun and I came back, and now, when Massey called out murder, murder, then the SU came up and said, confirm murder. So we were cocktail formation. Cocktail 1, murder. Cocktail 2, no murder. Cocktail 3, murder. Cocktail 4, murder. Wow, that was fantastic. And we came and we told Calcutta Airport permission to rejoin. They said, okay, come. Gun and I came. Gun did a victory roll over the airfield. And the ATC said, maintain circuit discipline. We said, okay.
Top Gun style.
Permission to call downwind. So we came and landed. Gun landed first, I landed second. And Massey and Sue came in. And we had makeshift arrangements there for our aircraft. The ground crew were there. And believe me, the message already came to the squadron flight commander, knew we were there. We had shot down aircraft. And the people who, opened our cockpits and they literally lifted us up, the airmen.
Wow.
They lifted us up from the cockpit, and it was a good session. Now I call him Siki sir. Siki sir came, and we had the evening over there. 6 o'clock in the evening, there was a dispatch rider from the brigade at Boyra. 2 bottles of scotch. Said, Brigadier Jacob Saab ne scotch bheja hai. Thank you very much. We said, fine. Later on, Air Marshal Diwan, CNC, Eastern Air Command, visited us and said, well done, Scotch, crate will come to you. 44 years, we are still waiting.
That quite frankly was one of the most eventful days in our life. Okay, nothing to describe the feeling and the
Chris, smile, no?
at that time. Okay. Okay, you must remember we were 23, 24 and 25 years old. Okay. And if you see my snap, I was all of 60
Before you met
kgs.
Chris, sir?
Okay, but yes, quite a fabulous affair. And that's it. That's what we did. 2 minutes and 40 seconds was what we
Combat
had to
was.
combat, and that's
Wow.
what we did. 3. It's listed as one of the top 5 combats in the world. If you Google it, you'll find that this is the top 5 combats of the world. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Wow.
What happened to the guy you shot down?
Sir, who ejected? Was he safe?
He became chief of PAF.
What do you say that?
The guy who ejected, was he safe?
Yeah.
Huh?
2 people ejected, Khalid Ahmed, flying officer, and Flight Lieutenant Mohammed Qureshi.
He has not mentioned about the telegram which was there. One would hit and one miss. That was very important.
So time went by, carried on in the Air Force. I took early retirement. I was in Kunur, Wellington, and I was reading a newspaper, and I read an article. Parvez Mehendi Qureshi become chief of Pakistan Air
Air
Force.
Force, wow.
So I wrote a DO letter to him. I said, our path crossed sometime, and wish you all the best. God bless you in your work as the chief of Pakistan Air Force. And I sent it across to him. A month later, I got a reply from his staff officer, Air Commodore, I forget his name. Very nice letter he wrote. I was a bit disappointed. But 2 weeks later, I got another letter from Pakistan Air Force, Air Headquarters in Pakistan, Lahore, signed by Parvez Mehendi Qureshi himself. I've still got that letter. It's a long time.
WhatsApp. Put it on WhatsApp.
Unfortunately, I forgot to bring that. But I do have the letters from the 3 chiefs, Indian chiefs, Army, Navy, Air Force. And I happened to meet General Manik Shaw, Field Marshal Manik Shaw later on. And I asked him to endorse his signature on my original letter. He's done that. I've got that with me. You all can come and have a look at that. However, it was wonderful to note the camaraderie in the fighter pilot fraternity. You know, we may be from different countries, but our spirit is the same. And it was very, very good to see a letter response from the chief of...
What did he write, sir?
He just wrote, yes, I do remember.
Obviously.
And that's all.